Hello. In this podcast, we take a look at writing a film treatment. What is a treatment? A treatment is a short summary of the finalized script. It's basically something that gives the reader or the agent the main details of what happens in your film, but without giving away the entire thing. In other words, you're putting a 110-page screenplay, we'll say, into something that's more along the lines of 5 to 20, maybe 30 pages or so, with all the details included. Some of the essential things that you must have with the treatment is a cover page with the title of that, or for example, maybe a working title, like for example, Quentin Tarantino's upcoming movie that he's about to make. I think for a while was just known as Untitled Quentin Tarantino War Movie or something, but you need a title or a working title on there, along with your name, of course. And also, it should be said here that you need to register your treatment with the Writers Guild of America and or the Copyright Office, and you need to put down there. You don't necessarily have to put down the number of the registration number, but you need to clearly indicate that your script is registered with the Writers Guild or the Copyright Office, so that way that protects you against copyright infringement, so nobody's going to steal your work or anything like that. Next, you want to include a table of contents. It basically lists all the sections of your treatment. One of the sections that you're going to have afterwards is a biography of yourself or the writer if you're representing somebody. Talk about their background, talk about their education, talk about previous scripts that they have written, so to establish that they're experienced. The next section is going to be your cast of characters. Who are the major characters in the story? Describe them a little bit. Also, the next thing you need to list is locations. You need to talk about what locations your movie takes place at. What are the main locations? What are the major locations? And the reason for this, by the way, the reason why you need a cast of characters and locations is not so much for the agent, but it's also so that the agent can get a sense for how much this movie is going to cost. In other words, is this going to be a movie with tons of characters? Are they going to have to hire tons of actors? And also, the set designer is going to want to know the locations. Okay, are we talking about just a couple simple rooms? Are we talking about space locations? How much money are they going to have to spend on this movie? So that's why those sections are crucial. Now let's talk for a moment about the difference between a screenplay and a shooting script. If you are just writing the film, then all you need to worry about is the screenplay. A shooting script, if you've ever seen a shooting script, it's a very, very elaborate. It will have details such as camera instructions, camera movement instructions, editing instructions, things like that. Like, have you ever seen the shooting script for Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese? He co-wrote the screenplay, but he also later on went and would write in the margins, tracking shot here, and camera looks at the character at this angle and so forth. Don't worry about that if you are just writing the project. If you're going to be directing your project, then that's okay. But in terms of just writing the film, just worry about the screenplay. And as far as a treatment goes, the treatment is just an even shorter version of the screenplay. So don't worry about camera instructions and things like that. At the treatment, you're just basically describing the plot, what happens in the story, scene by scene analysis. So, as I just said, explain what happens in the story. Not necessarily shot for shot, but at least scene for scene. And if you can, divide the 3 acts. Every story has 3 acts. So, but basically, don't try to get too fancy. Be very concise. So, for example, if you're going to say something like, Melissa was saddened by this, that would be good. Okay, just keep it short, simple. You want to avoid things like, Melissa felt sad and began to cry helplessly for the next several minutes, wiping her warm tears with Kleenexes and rubbing her face with her hands. Just get to the point, keep it short, keep it concise. And that's what that's what the reader is going to be looking for. And lastly, as we already mentioned, you want to register your script with the Copyright Office and or the Writers Guild of America. And when you turn in your treatment, you want to clearly indicate that your script is registered, because you never know whose hands it'll fall into. And if it falls into the wrong hands, this will at least discourage them from being tempted to steal your work. So make sure you do that. Some people will even go as far as to not only register the script with the Copyright Office and the Writers Guild of America, but they'll also later on register the treatment as well. And that can never be a bad idea, just protecting yourself twice. So if you can do these things, you can develop an impressive treatment that you can show to your agent and or investor or reader.